Okay, dude. So I'm going to walk through some of your code, um, and see if I can maybe help you figure out what's wrong here. So let's get started. This is your main activity. Your main activity, you start with on create. You've got your variables here that you're setting. You've got your list view. You're checking your network connection, setting up your adapter, setting the adapter to the list view. You're setting an on-click listener to the list view. And this goes on. So you've got this string news.url. Keep going down, you've got an intent. Okay, so you're getting the loader manager and you're doing init loader. So what happens here is you go down to on create loader. This is where the code goes. So we go to loader list news on create loader. So you're getting your shared preferences right here. Next, you're getting your string order by shared preferences, order by key, order by default. So you're setting up your shared preferences. So whatever the choice that the person clicks on comes back. Okay, so you're doing that. Then you've got your base URI right here, and that's pointing to this contentguardianapis.com. So then you go through here and you append query parameters, which is correct. Now, however, this right here, I've told you like 10 times that this won't work. So you have to change this. It won't work. Topic and web publication date, they don't exist in the API. Those are things that come back as keys in the JSON, but you cannot query the API using these keys. It won't work. So if we look at the Guardians API under order by, go up here, we're in content. We have order by here, the sort date. Let me blow this up so you can read it. You have order by here, sort used by. So if we go down to, let's find it, order by, the values you need to use are newest, oldest, or relevance. Those are the only three values that will work for order by. So you cannot use topic, you cannot use web publication date. These won't work. Your API call is going to fail. So you'll get no JSON data back. I can prove this to you by taking this URI builder right here, this URI builder to string, and we are going to log out the API that you are sending. So I'm going to log the URL. Can't type today. And just ignore this red tag here. Okay, so I'm going to save it and I'm going to run it. I did run this ahead of time just to make the emulator load faster. So in the logcat, when it first runs, you can see you have errors, error parsing JSON response. And I'm going to show you what this means in a few minutes here. So if I run this, it's going to print out that URL down here. Just got to give it a second. Okay, now we printed out the URL. This is right here. It comes back as a link. I'm going to click it, and it goes to Content Guardian API. No API key found. So you're not putting on the API key, which is going to fail the call. Let me see. I don't know if you have the API key in here anywhere. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, this is okay. So you've got this in your query utils. So let me go over there. So in query utils, you are doing. Okay, so it looks like you're using query utils to make a URL as well, but you're not actually calling this from down here. Well, that's because I printed it out from down there. So let's print out, let's see, let's find uses of this. So 45 string URL, create string URL, query utils, create URL, jump to source. Okay, so you've got create URL here and it's grayed out because you're not actually using it. We can prove this. We'll take this log statement and we'll go over to the query utils. So you've got string URL equals create string URL. So that goes up to here. And so this is yellow because it's going from here. So if I go up here, and I change this to be URL, save it and we rerun it, my assumption is we are not going to find this in our logcat. So let's take a look here. Yeah, so it's not in your logcat. So you're not actually calling this method to create the proper URL. So this will create the proper URL if you call it. So let's see where else we're going wrong. So what you can do then is you don't need this. This needs to be put into a different spot because you're not actually using this. The other thing is you would want to take this order by and stick it down here as the variable for the order by. You don't need that. So, but again, this isn't working. If you want to get the URL right here, you need to make a call to query utils create URL. So you can do that if you want to pass this URL back. Delete all this stuff. Create URL doesn't take any arguments, so we just need to make it a URL variable. So URI, is it URI or URL that you have in there? Let's see here. It's a URL. So URL equals, oh, I need a URL equals, and then we do reutils dot create URL. So you can return this URL to string, and then we'll go back and we will leave this right here. So this returns a string. You've got string URL builder build to string. This is going to return a string. So now, if we log this out here, let me, well, it'll log right here. So we don't need to do any additional logging because it'll log out from here. I'm going to open up my log count. I'm going to clear it out and I'm going to rerun this. So we rerun it. Now we have this URL. Let's click on it. Okay, and now we have results. So you're ordering by newest, showing the reference for author, showing tags. You're searching for this, and you're using your API key. So now with that, we have results. So What's going on now? We still have this error parsing JSON. And I'm going to show you why you have that error. So this returns this. This is the URL that it returns. So we're returning URL, create string URL. That is going here. So we're going to newsloader this URL to string. So we need to go into newsloader. Newsloader takes in context and a string URL. You are setting this string URL equal to this. So you are doing this. This is what's coming in. It is setting this equal to URL. So that's the URL now. On load in background is where you are doing your call to the query utils parameter. What you're doing here is you're doing list of news equals query utils.parse JSON. So you are doing this. You are sending this URL into query utils parse JSON. Go to query utils, go to parse JSON. Notice we are not making an HTTP request. We are going straight to parse JSON. This wants a string response. This is expecting this data. You are not sending this data to that. What you're doing is you're sending the URL. So what this is doing is all this stuff is looking specifically at this URL like it was text. It doesn't care that it's a URL that goes outside of the program. That's not what this URL is doing right here. This JSON response is looking for the tag response in this URL. But again, think of this as like a text string that you're putting in. This doesn't exist. You never actually take this URL and send it out to the internet because you need to call make HTTP request. So somewhere you need to call this method because then it will be like this, make HTTP request this URL, okay? And so then it will take this URL as this variable URL. It is going to send this out to the internet. It is going to look for the data that comes back. It is going to set the JSON response variable to read from the input stream. The input stream is what comes back. It's then going to return this JSON response. This JSON response this JSON response is what needs to go into parse JSON. Okay, so you need to call make HTTP request. Now I'm going to show you the Earthquake app. I'm going to show you what you're missing. This is why I told you to redo the Earthquake app stuff. Okay, here is the Earthquake app. Same thing, goes through onCreate, checks the internet status, sets an onClick listener. We go down to onCreate loader. onCreate loader in this app is doing this, which is where you got your thing from. This app is a little different from the news app. So it is using this right here to build the URL. That's fine. It goes into Earthquake loader and it's sending the URL. So let's go to Earthquake loader. It goes through all this stuff. And then it goes to list earthquakes equals query utils.fetch earthquake data. It sends the URL in there. Query utils, fetch earthquake data. You are completely missing this method in your news app. You need to have this method in your news app because it is what calls the URL. It's what tells the URL to go out to the make HTTP request. And it comes back as a JSON response. Okay, it takes this response, makes a list of earthquakes using extract features from JSON which is what you're calling parse JSON. It's the same thing, and you're sending in this method. So then it goes down here to extract feature from JSON. And again, you are calling this parse JSON in your application, but it's the same. Then it's going through it, the result, and it's bringing back all the JSON information into those list items. So you need to add this method. You need to change the way you're getting your URL. So you can, I deleted it out, but you can either do it in the on create loader, like we did before, or you can use this query utils create URL. If you're going to use this, you need to take this and you need to put it in there. And then you need to replace this with your order by variable that you're getting right here. Now, these are red because you're going to have to do a little bit more to make this work in this method. I'm not going to show you how to do it. I want you to try to figure that out on your own. It's not that hard. I think you can do it. I'm confident that you can do it. So that's what's going on with your code. That's why it doesn't work. So I don't know how else to really explain it without doing the work for you, and you're not going to learn that way. So rewatch this video however many times you need to. Follow along with what I did. You're very, very close. You're getting there. So you're really close to getting done. You're missing a method and you're calling your URL in the wrong spot. So if you add this method in that I showed you, the fetch JSON data method that's in the Earthquake utilities, send in the proper URL, you're going to be good to go. And you'll start getting JSON data back from down here. So hopefully this helps. Let me know, I guess, if you're still confused. We'll have to do, I guess, a one-on-one because I don't know any other way to really explain this. So, okay.